What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on? We're back again, guys. We're back again to another live to the start of the week. Mad love and respect for everyone passing through to today's live. I have my daughter with me, so if you do hear some peculiar noises in the background and requests that I need to help her out with a couple of her toys, then you'll understand why. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Traders Reality Show. I've missed you guys, and it always is the case, isn't it? During the weekends, I try my best to stay away from the charts, but more importantly, it gives me time to take a break just so that I can refresh my mind, because we hit this every single day, man. We are here bringing fire, trying to establish exactly what to expect from Bitcoin. Firstly, I do want to thank you all for passing through to the face reveal. It was a pleasure allowing you all to see me. You know, some people were talking about problems with the camera. There was tape on it, or I had some packaging still on there. I know what I could see. I could see myself bright as day. I think you guys need to adjust your settings when you do come into the streams, because, you know, we spent a lot of time trying to sort out that reveal. So mad love and respect for everyone passing through to that reveal. Thank you very much. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's get with it. New York starts in 3 minutes time. If you are new to the channel, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Traders Reality. Let's have a conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Okay then, cool. So let's drop the music down just a little bit. All right then, so we know what the story is right now with Bitcoin. Let me just sort this out. Yeah, can you guys see that? Happy days. All right then, cool. So since yesterday, we saw a little bit of a false move on a Monday. Now, this is what we mean. Monday session, New York, they decided to drop price to the downside, and they've just simply returned all the way back up and come and recovered most of this red vector candle in the zone. Let me just get rid of a couple of things right here. Okay, are we all good for that? Let me get rid of my Twitter. Happy days. All right then, so this is what we need to establish, okay? When it comes to the way Bitcoin behaves, especially on days like this, ladies and gentlemen, we just need to be mindful what's happening in the week, which is giving us a reason to believe that Bitcoin is preparing for a move up or a move down. Well, we have the FOMC, all right? So let me just get rid of all of this stuff on here. Let me clear up the chart so you guys can see it bright as day. Happy days. All right. Bitcoin has still stayed within its psychological ranges, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is important because usually by now we would anticipate Bitcoin to move away from this range, okay? But there seems to be this particular behavior where they keep on moving price up, coming straight back down, moving up and coming straight back down again. It's sort of consistent with building shorts at the highest possible point in the chart. Now, more importantly, we need to understand what could give Bitcoin a reason to move higher as opposed to moving lower. Well, let's just drop onto the higher time frames just to understand where we are in the range. So look at this. Bitcoin has still got this previous zone of liquidity right here. So we're cool with that. Secondly, we have this wick which they came into last night, all right? But they didn't fully complete the range. So that's a potential point in the chart that they could return back into. And then, of course, we have this madness down here. Now, this is all I really need to be focused on. I'm not interested in vector candles all the way down here. No interest just yet. Price would have to move aggressively. Now, let me tell you something. I'm a day trader, so I'm only interested in certain moves that could happen in a single session from the start of the session all the way through to the end of the session itself. That's what I'm looking for. Now, New York has fully opened, okay? Now, principle would say that Bitcoin, with this big green vector candle that we can see in the chart right here, ladies and gentlemen, we would anticipate Bitcoin to come back up and recover this wick over a period of time, okay? So if the move is serious, that they want to move price higher, then they would have been able to build their shorts at the highest point, at the same time push price down lower to build their longs at lower prices in anticipation to move price higher later on. Okay, now, because of the FOMC minutes that are being released tomorrow, all right, we might get a little bit more stagnant behavior in this chart, ladies and gentlemen. They may not move anywhere because you can see bright as day, Bitcoin is still stuck in this range. Now, that is from the 48,224 all the way down towards the 44,177 range. If we look at the bigger time frame and we zoom out, it looks like Bitcoin is just about to start its move to the upside to finalize a rise level 1 towards the, a rise level 2. Because level 1 finishes here. Level 2 starts here. and then level 2 would end up here. So they would need to break out of this range right here of the 48,190 for a valid level 2 rise. Again, let's go back to the chart. Come look at this. We start our week off with this structure. We need to understand why this structure is important, because it's going to tell us where we are in relation to the cycle. So we've had the W formation down here. Look left and you can see we've got a structure right there. We then go across again. We've had a move up. Happy days. Retrace back down. So this is where we are right now. If you look in the chart, you can see that is evident right there. All right. So if I mark it off on the chart right here, you're going to be able to see it. Check this out. Got the W right there. Rise up, retrace, mini W formation, shift out. That's still a valid level. Okay? Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, it's whatever Bitcoin does right now. So if we get rid of everything and look closer and try and understand the range itself, we'll have a clearer view. Bitcoin is flat. 50 EMA, flat. 5 and 13 EMA, flat. There's no momentum. There's no movement. Okay? You wouldn't want to get involved in these sort of trades. That's why you're seeing Bitcoin do this. Hit 1, hit 2, hit 3. Because they're building. They're accumulating. Now, naturally, we would want them to move higher. But the problem that we've got is this. Based on your entry, if you believe it's going to go higher, then you're going to have to use a lot less leverage so that you can absorb the potential for Bitcoin to do this for the rest of the week up until the end of the FOMC, where we might see the direction. Okay? You've got to be mindful of that. Do you have the capital to be able to withstand this fluctuation in price? All right? Most new retail traders open positions, for example, in this area here, and then they'll set a stop right here in the anticipation that price is going to zoom away from that point. That's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to place your stops beyond structures that they have just broken or they've come away from. For example, if you were to place a long in this area here, do you have the capacity in terms of your capital to be able to withstand a movement down to here without it actually hurting your capital? Can you do that? Because that does look like quite a far distance, especially for new traders that are trading with 100x leverage. They would have to put a mad amount of margin to be able to withstand that sort of deviation from their entry point. Okay? Of course, the less leverage you use, the more flexibility you have, and the more you can absorb these big moves by Bitcoin so they don't shake you out of your position. Yeah? Are we good, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here. Mad love to you. I haven't actually addressed you guys. Mad love and respect. What's going on? How are we today? Mike Dutch, what's good? Bella B, what's happening? Sack Trades. Thad, what is happening? Awataz, Crypto Yasmin, the family are here today. Pozo, thank you very much for becoming a liquidity provider. Welcome to everybody. Welcome all new Patreons. Welcome members, new subscribers. It's the start of the week, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best time of the week to be at the charts. Avoid the weekends at all costs, all right? Yeah, we've got this situation coming up soon with the Miami conference. Will Bitcoin dump after the Miami conference? The question is, who's talking at the Miami conference? Who's going to turn up to the Miami conference and say a bad word about crypto? No one. I don't think they would allow anyone with a brain cell of the size of an ant to turn up and say a bad word about crypto. It's the Miami conference, man. It's all to do with crypto. They're only going to want to put the positive aspect to that conference itself. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, whatever is discussed in the Miami conference, price would have probably absorbed it anyway. Okay? So just be mindful, whenever there is a great thing about cryptocurrency, don't make the mistake of thinking that because of the conference, price is going to rise up or drop down. No. It's what they do before that that's going to tell you what's going to happen. Because they could say something really great about crypto and it drops. Well, look at all the longs that have been built in this area here. That would be consistent with the marking price lower and then move price to the upside. Happy days. Yeah? Makes sense, doesn't it? Regardless of whoever speaks about crypto. Ultimately, it's what the price is doing. Whatever's happening in this area here is going to reflect what they truly want from price later on. They will use the conference or they'll use FOMC to move the markets. And what's decent is this, guys. Bitcoin is behaving exactly the same as the majority of other assets across the board. So if you look at S&P 500, you're going to see it's actually behaving the same way. Just look at that. Let me zoom in. Look at that, pulling back on the 4 hour, looking like it wants to come back up into this area here. S&P needs to break this zone. So the principle would say, based on Bitcoin's coefficient with the S&P, that if the S&P is able to break out of this area here, we can anticipate Bitcoin to move higher as well. Okay, if we look at dollar yen itself, looking like it's trying to formulate the same sort of behavior, trying to hold this range of the 50 EMA to break out towards the upside. Okay, at the same time, we've got gold. Now, gold is doing a good job of holding, which was consistent with the FOMC results. All right, so we do need to be paying attention to gold, because if gold starts to move up, that means traders are feeling quite fearful and they're running to commodities for safety. At the same token, looking at crude oil, it's now pulling back. Everyone's rushing all over the place to get petrol in the UK. So guys, make sure that you do get yourself stacked up with that gasolina. That's the way it is over here in the UK. Someone says it's going to run out, they'll go out and buy a bag of it, and then it doesn't even run out in the first place. That's how it rolls, okay? So from that aspect, ladies and gentlemen, all right, we kind of understand what to expect with Bitcoin today. All right, Bitcoin, as long as it stays in this range right here up until the FOMC, that is when you should proceed with caution. In my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, any fast moves that happen from now up until the FOMC, in my opinion, will be deemed as false. All right, they would be deemed as false because we know they're waiting for some information to come out. So they're quickly going to move price up to bring it back into the range again. So be careful when you're placing trades on that principle. All right, if there's no news coming out and price decides to move up, then fine, you can accept that there's nothing triggering this price movement other than people stepping to the charts. That's what's important, okay? Now, let's have a look at Ethereum. Once I go through Ethereum, I'm going to focus on a few altcoins that have been moving and I want you guys to pay attention to. And then, of course, I'll be finalizing the day because I've got my mini market maker causing riot in the room next door, all right? So here we go. Ethereum. Now, look, this is good thing. A good thing about Ethereum is this, ladies and gentlemen, right? When Ethereum trades, she trades nicely. Look at how the moving average is pointing upwards. So if you want to establish where's the momentum in the charts, all you do is you come up onto the 1 hour time frame or the 4 hour time frame, mainly the 4 hour, mark off a clock. If the moving averages 5 and 13 and the 50 EMA are pointing to 1 p.m., 2 p.m., you've got upside momentum. If it's pointing 4 p.m., 5 p.m., you've got downside momentum, okay? That just gives you a little bit of a help in understanding where you are in the charts, okay? Now, Ethereum has been trading positively. It has been moving up. It hasn't broken its 5 or the 13 EMA, so there's no reason for us to believe that it's actually coming down. But we do have this point in the chart right here, which they did come back into, but they rejected away from. So that doesn't mean it won't recover that. It just means that they're not going to come down to it just yet because they had the chance yesterday in the move on Monday and they didn't follow through with it. It was just a quick drop to the downside for them to recover back up into the top side of the range itself. Okay, zooming out, Ethereum is currently in vector presence. All right, so look at this. This area here, the top of this red vector candle, and then of course the open of the next vector candle, that is where Ethereum is trying to break into. As it is right now, it's already in this vector zone right here. So you can see that's where the price is. The next vector point itself is in this area here. So you need to mark that off and pay attention to the fact it's the 3,540. So right now we are anticipating Ethereum to try and break into that range. Why is it important? Because if they do decide to go into this range, ladies and gentlemen, they will be hitting previous pools of liquidity, which is where we expect volatility to come into the chart. So keep an eye out on that. Okay. Now, there are many reasons as to why they're holding price, but I want you guys to have a look at something that has been happening. Okay. Check this out. In order for us to understand if Bitcoin's going to move higher, let's understand what they've been doing previously, because it's the only way we can establish it. And the reason why we look back and we dwell on hindsight is because if you can't train your eyes to see what they have done, there's a great chance you ain't going to notice the development of it happening in the future. Development, progression, that's what we're looking for. They can't just move price out of nowhere. They have to develop so that they can move with aggression, so that they can justify the fast move. Just look at this red vector candle right here. They started the development over here. They come back up into that range, recovered the red vector zone, but they left a wick. Look what's happened now. They've come straight into that red vector zone, okay? Come back in to recover that wick. And inside right here, ladies and gentlemen, you can see a stopping volume candle right there. Look at the volume on that. chilling in that zone. So we've seen them come back into that previous wick right there. So we could justify maybe on day trades or short-term trades that if price is coming up like so, we would anticipate them to come up into this previous wick. It's not the first time they've done this, and it's not the last time. So check this out. Start of the week, you can see Bitcoin from the weekend makes the move up, and then it drops all the way down on Monday, and then they hold back into the range and they contain price in this zone. Okay? Now look at this. Just look at the behavior. We keep seeing this pump and dump scenario by Bitcoin. One zone here, we see that zone right there. And then, of course, we go over to the chart again, and we keep on seeing this behavior. Look at this. Keeps coming and going. What's the story? It's consistent with accumulation, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this story is about. It's consistent with the way they build positions. So let's take this information and look at the current price action. What can we get from this? All right. Some of you might be drawing off this W formation. Happy days. As long as it stays above the 50 EMA and the 5 and 13 EMA, we've got no reason to be concerned about anything. People are talking about price coming all the way down here to the 43s, all the way down to the 41s and 40s. Why do we need to be concerned about that just yet? Price is trading above moving averages. We've got no break in any structure just yet. They tried to break down this structure here, came into it again, they couldn't do it. So what do we need to be looking at? We need to be looking at price to the upside. Why? Because we haven't had a break of the structure just yet. They haven't done anything. So why do we need to be focusing on something that has not started to happen yet? Yeah? Granted, if this move right now pulls Bitcoin all the way down, then we start paying attention to the nearest point in the chart where liquidity resides. And those points are right here. One zone right there. Of course, we got this zone right here. And then, of course, finally, we have the vector zone down there. So these are the 3 points in the chart that if Bitcoin breaks below the 5 and 13 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, that you need to be paying attention to. If that's the case and it's not going to break through those zones, we then start paying attention to the upper band of price action, where we look at the 48,209. We look left. Where's it at? Potential vector candle plays. No, wick, which was a vector. So we want to be looking above that point for the next pool of liquidity, which will take us to the 48,591 range. Remember, we are still waiting for a clean break to the upside. And this area here is where they're going to accumulate as many positions as possible to break out. The longer they spend trying to break out of the level 1 zone, the bigger the breakout from that point. Okay, just remember that. The more time they spend consolidating in this area, the better the move is going to be once they break out of that area. Yeah? Are we cool with that, ladies and gentlemen? Are we cool with that, ladies and gentlemen? Only just got notified. Yeah, I don't understand why the channel, it doesn't give you guys a notification. Just know every single day, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe so you can get those notifications. I go live at 2 p.m. GMT UK time, and then I go live again at 10 p.m. GMT UK time, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Those are my busy days, and I throw in a few videos in there for the London Open as well. All right, so mad love and respect to all of you people. And another thing as well, for those of you who have just recently joined the Patreon, mad love and respect to all of you. I will only mention the Patreon at the start of the month and at the end of the month, because at the end of the month, people join before the start of a new month and they get charged twice. I'm not down for that game. Okay, it's the only time I mention it. All right. Okay, then, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin now starting to show a little bit of traction to the downside. Very interesting. Let's just dive into that before I go into the altcoins, right? Hold on a second. Here we go. Right, so here we are. Bitcoin now coming back into holding this psychological high. That's what we really need to see Bitcoin doing. Holding the psychological highs. Pretty aggressive move. Here we go. Wow, 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 wow. Look at that. Look at that for a little move right there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad I'm able to catch that move with you. Testing the psychological high. Happy days. What are they going to do for us right here? Oh, this is pretty interesting behavior, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a big move to the downside. Oh my goodness. What have you done, Bitcoin? What have you done? Give me 5 minutes. Let me just get with the program. Let me just sort this out. Here we go. 46,500. Yeah, 46,500 range. It's a stop hunt low rise. Is that going to be the case? Stop hunt low rise to the upside. This is what we do want to see. We want to see this. Look at that, man. Look how nasty they are. Look what they've done just there, ladies and gentlemen. Come back into the psychological high, testing the 200 EMA. Unfortunately, price action is flat. Okay, so there's nothing happening as such. They are accumulating in this range. They are bullying off the traders. Okay, ideally, the same thing that happened last night may be happening right now. All right, so just be mindful of that. 2:15, another 15 more minutes until the futures markets open in the US. So this will be a positive move. If they can recover back up from this move, ladies and gentlemen, that will be a wonderful thing. All right, let me just pay attention to some altcoins right now. So I've got this list right here, ladies and gentlemen, where it's a couple of altcoins that have made some decent moves, and I want to just put some insight into what to expect with them. So here we go, BNX. Right, listen. If Ethereum maintains its behavior to the upside, then naturally we anticipate a lot of altcoins to do the same thing. Bitcoin dominance, I believe, is now... Where's Bitcoin dominance at? Okay, it's now at 41%. So it's gone up a little bit. Okay, but what we want to see is we really want to see coins like this trading above the moving averages. You can see that they've got aggressive behavior. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, 3 pushes to the high by Mr. Market Maker before they pull back. 1, 2, and 3. They hit the highs, let the retail trader come in, blue vector candle stopping volume right there, then they pull it all the way back. Now they're testing the range weekly high. Okay, for us to see another move to the upside, we need to understand what this coin has been doing. I don't care what the coin is, I care about what it's doing in terms of movement. It's quite an expensive coin, so we know there's liquidity behind it. But just look at what's been happening in the coin. You can see in these areas, it's got the habit of pushing up aggressively, coming back, retracing 50% of the move near enough and moving away. Coming back down, moving up, coming back down, building the intention, and then coming up again to retrace back down again. So this coin appears to be moving in tandem with the direction of the market. It comes down, accumulates, and then continues back up again. If we look left, ladies and gentlemen, this coin itself, if we go on the higher time frames, you can see it is moving aggressively to the upside. So we are maybe in line for a little bit of a retrace, but how long for is the question. We are coming back into previous vector candles as well. So keep an eye out in terms of price action. As long as they maintain above the 5 and 13 EMA, then we've got no reason to believe this coin can go any lower. The moment it closes below the 5 and 13 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, then there may be a shift in momentum. So keep an eye out on that coin. BNX. INJ, the same story has happened here. Big green vector candle to the upside, no follow through, pulling price all the way back. Now, what you want to do is you want to look for the lower time frames again to understand where we are in terms of the moving averages. You can see that they've come away from the moving averages. Look at that, 5 and 13 EMA trading upwards, 50 pointing upwards, 200 EMA and the 800 EMA below. This is what you want to see from Bitcoin. You want to see all the moving averages below price so that you can determine exactly if they are looking to bring price down lower. A break in one of these moving averages is going to create that movement. Okay, but everything looks like it's moving higher. We naturally expect a retrace from this coin. How low is it going to go? Well, we know that this point right here could be the point where they start bringing interest back in again. Stop, hunt, rise, drop. Get the coin to the highest point so you can short from it. Bring it back down so you can buy it at the lowest point for it to only come back up into the previous vector zone right here, which takes us to $7.50. Near. Here we go. Right now, you can see that we've got near holding the 50 EMA. Again, if they can hold above the 50 EMA, but they have the habit of coming down below it and coming back up. So a clean break below the 50 EMA, where price comes to back up into retrace into it and shows weakness, we will then see price come back down into this next structure. But remember, it's staying within the psychological ranges. Milad, God bless you, bro. You don't have to do that, my friend, but thank you very much, brother. I hope you're well, man. BSW's just recently been listed. Okay, this is a DEX platform, great for staking, and we've seen this coin, man, it's been madness, been hitting $2.18. This coin does have a good chance, given that it's already got the infrastructure behind it. It's a staking platform, okay, but as a trading coin, how it trades is a different story, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Are people rushing to accumulate it? That's the question. Can you make the comparison with a coin like this, okay, that's just been recently listed on Binance to trade, and in comparison to Bitcoin? Do people want to buy BSW? No. Do people want to buy Bitcoin? Yes. Which one do they want to do more of? Obviously, Bitcoin. So whenever a coin gets listed to be traded, okay, in terms of leverage, there's a different story behind it. Okay, as a utility, it's great maybe for staking or any NFTs, whatever the project is. Okay, but just remember, there's a difference between a coin that has already got some infrastructure behind it and it's got a purpose. And when you're coming into the game of trading it, different story. So in my opinion, it's quite new. So be careful because they do have this pump dump scenario. So be mindful with this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'd keep an eye on it. I wouldn't dive in just to, you know, and just say, okay, it's a new coin, so let's trade it because everyone's going to be trading it. That's not the case. Okay, Coty, look at that. Nice progressive move to the upside. This is what we want to see. Price trailing above the 5 and the 13 EMA, 50 EMA, positively trading to the upside. Looking left, you can see they've achieved the pattern in some way. Okay, you can see a rise, the retrace. So let me just get rid of this just to show you guys how to understand cycles and levels. All right, so you can see that we have got a level right here. Okay, where price accumulated. When they break away from that, the longer they trade inside of this range, once they break out, the stronger the move to the upside. Okay, and you can see what's happened here. They came back and progressively broke. Look at that strength right there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so just be mindful of this situation. If you can find a range in an altcoin, okay, determine what it's doing in relation to the total market cap for all the crypto coins, for the altcoins itself, and you'll understand where the money's flowing in. Okay, CELO. All right, so look at this. Big move to the upside, looking for the retrace. Now, most of these coins now have made their moves. Now we're looking for the retraces. We're going to know the proof of the move if they come back into the 50 EMA and bounce away from it. So you're looking for this structure with these coins right here. Retraces, continuations up. All right. If we're about to go on to a big drop to the downside across the board, ladies and gentlemen, okay, and given that the FOMC says something negative or whatever happens, okay, be mindful when you do try and trade these retraces. In other words, if it holds the 50 EMA and starts to make its way up, don't look for this point right here as the point where you wait for price to get to, okay? So let's make the assumption as follows. Look at this. Say you've got price comes all the way down towards this point right here, which is $4.50-ish, all right? Say you make your entry in this area here. Price then starts to move up. Happy days, comes down, it moves up, comes down, then it comes up towards this point. You need to be out of that trade, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Reason being is because they've already moved up with aggression anyway, okay? What you're waiting for is you're waiting for a surefire point in the chart that you improve the chances of liquidity coming in, but you don't want to be getting in when the liquidity is coming out. All right? Because remember, market maker sells at a premium. He doesn't buy at the highs. That's what retail traders do. So you'll say to me, yeah, but Tina, what if it breaks out of that range? Okay, cool. Well, that's all depending on your entry point. Because if your entry is all the way down here and it comes up to this point and breaks out, well, you just need to adjust your profit and work out how much you want to pay yourself. Ultimately, if you're getting into a trade at the lowest point of the structure, which would be in this area here, you want to be taking profits at this point here, because what they could do is they could spike up, get you to commit and keep your capital in your account. More importantly, make you add more to the trade for them to sharply pull it back. Yeah? Because if you see a big break to the upside and your position's all the way down here, you'll say, you know, I'm going to get in again, man. You add to your position, then your entry moves up so close towards the point where you decided to enter because you got a little bit greedy. Then look what happens. Price comes straight back into your entry point, and then you're now starting to flutter and get yourself worked up on the idea that they could actually go down lower. And then before you know it, it comes all the way back down to this point right here. And then you're asking yourself, why didn't you pay yourself sooner? Remember, guys, it's not about getting the heroic trades where I brought here and I sold all the way up here. That's not what it's about. It's about, I got in here and I started paying myself as it was rising and rising. And by the time I saw price all the way up here, I would have made myself a fat bit of cake on the way up. I didn't have to wait for it to come up here. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Audio. Well, okay, let me get to that in a second. Hold on. Looking at audio, following the same structure right here. Testing the 50 EMA. So here is an example. They've got the scent to move price higher. 1, 2, 3 hits up, retrace back down, and then one big candle up, retrace back into the 50 EMA. So let's keep an eye out on this one. Keep an eye out on audio, ladies and gentlemen, because it's at the point where it's testing the moving average as it is right now. So just be mindful. M2 pivot point is testing. Okay, so let's see what they can do from this point. All right. And finally, Luna. Luna's done a good job. Look at how Luna, see what I'm saying, right? Look at this. Look at the structure of Luna. Moves up, retrace, continuation out. All right. Literally a moment, what I was just talking about with audio. All right. Sorry, CELO. Look at this. If you were to get in on this move from here, happy days. You would have seen the move to the upside. They broke out the previous high, but then they sharply pulled it back. You would have been getting out at this point. Yeah? But now that they've pulled back into that range, you're now going to say to yourself, okay, I'd like to get in at this point on the base that they're going to hold this range. Now it's breaking out of that range, a little bit of a pullback with the assumption that they're going to try and continue higher. But you see what I'm talking about. They do this all over the place in various coins. So you just got to be mindful of it. In other words, find yourself altcoins that are now trading at the 50 EMA. Okay? And pay attention to them. Once you start seeing candlesticks like this, vectors trying to push away from the zone, it means market makers are stepping in, buying at a discount whilst building shorts at the same time. Okay? Remember that. Okay then. Couple of questions that you guys might have. Soul Cow, it's possible that Bitcoin is dropping now in anticipation of negative FOMC news. Well, listen, let's look at it like this. If the FOMC news is negative by principle, okay, of Bitcoin being the best hedge against inflation, when are they going to actively activate that? When's that going to be a thing? When is Bitcoin going to be the coin that you run to when you are seeking safety? All right, that's all I want to know. Because if the news is negative for the dollar, well, Bitcoin trades against the dollar. You would naturally assume that Bitcoin would rise against the dollar. Okay? But the problem we've got is Bitcoin, gold, dollar yen, SPX, S&P 500, all right? They're all trading in exactly the same fashion. There's no disparity. There's no coefficient as such, other than Bitcoin following the S&P. Okay, but everything's moving in the same direction. Something's going to break because traders are going to be seeking safer options, which is why we would look at the Treasury, the US Treasury yields right here. So you've got the 10-year. Sorry, you've got the government yields right there, the 10-year, which look at it, it's rising up. That looks like traders are putting their money into riskier assets. You've got also the 5-year, the same story, and then the 30-year. The same story, okay? They've been moving up. Slight pullback, but they've been moving up, ladies and gentlemen. All right? And all we're trying to establish is what's going to cause Bitcoin to move. Is Bitcoin going to move by itself? Well, in my opinion, I don't think there is enough people in cryptocurrency to make Bitcoin move against any other assets that Bitcoin would move alongside with, okay? For Bitcoin to move against the S&P 500. So when the S&P 500 drops, Bitcoin in principle should drop. But I would like to see Bitcoin move higher when the S&P drops. The day that happens, that is when we know that we have solid support in Bitcoin, or should I say cryptocurrency. But we haven't got that yet. Okay? So that's what you want to be focusing on. Whether the news is going to be positive or negative. Ultimately, Bitcoin is not really breaking down from any of this structure right now. It's in exactly the same spot as it was yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. So we've got no reason to believe Bitcoin is breaking down until they break key structures in the chart, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making reference to these points later on tonight. Just remember, coming towards the close of London today, all right, we tend to see a little bit of volatility in the chart. So just be mindful of that. London closes in about 3.5 hours or so. Yeah, about 5:30. Okay, 3 hours. 5:30 they close. Usually before that time, we tend to see a little bit of volatility in coins and assets across the board. All right. The same happens in the New York session as it comes towards the close. So from now up until that point, all right, wait for the closes because they may move price into a particular point to set it up for the next session. All right. Do the same for UK, do the same for the New York session, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about when it comes towards those times. Okay. Cool. Mad love and respect, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new to the channel, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Finally, I know I keep chewing your ears off about this, but we're just playing the YouTube algorithm game. It helps with the channel, so you get to hear me more and you get to see me less. If you want to see what I look like, please go to the reveal video, which I have done. It was a great opportunity for you all to see me as the blurred version, apparently. I could see myself, but I don't understand why you guys couldn't, but that's another story. Anyway, listen, I will see you guys tonight at 10 p.m. GMT. Mad love and respect to anyone passing through to today's live, and I will catch up with you later. I've got to sort out the mini market maker. Have yourselves a great day, guys. Peace.